You want to hear something absolutely bonkers? I spent 7 years working 12 to 14 hours a day, making $20 an hour as a personal trainer and nutritionist. I was ground down, I was beat up, I was burnt out, and as much as I loved helping my clients, I could not keep doing that, and no one knew who I was. And I went from that to building and exiting a 7-figure online health business that helped over 500,000 people to better health. I became a #2 New York Times best-selling author. I appeared on shows like The Dr. Oz Show, The Doctors, and many others. And I'm sharing this with you not to brag, but to let you know that if you want to go from a health expert to industry leader in your space, then you don't need any special superpowers. You just need 3 tools in your toolkit, and that's what I'm going to walk you through in this video. Hey guys, Uriel Kim, CEO and founder of Healthpreneur. We help health professionals build scalable coaching businesses that transform more lives. And today, I'm going to share with you the 3 things that you probably want to have in your toolkit if you want to go from being just a health expert, who sadly most people don't even know exists, to becoming a leader in your space. I'm also going to show you how in just 3 days, I went from literally unknown to becoming one of the most renowned people in the online health space, and how you can do that as well. So let's dive right in. So the first tool that we need to have in the toolkit is clarity of vision. So when I was working as a trainer and I was in the weeds and I was looking at my watch, is this session over yet? You know, that whole grind. I knew there was something bigger for me. I knew I wanted to impact more lives. I knew I wanted to live a better quality of life. And I had to take the time to think about what that was going to look like. Because if you don't know where if you don't know where you want to go, anywhere will do. And I think a lot of people go through life with that type of, they just kind of go with the wind. And you're either building your dream or you're building someone else's. And I was sick and tired of building someone else's dream. I didn't enjoy working in a company, having to follow their process, making little to no money as a trainer. Even though I was great at what I was doing, I wasn't being compensated, at least in the way that I thought I could. So the first thing that I need to get really clear about is, well, what do I want instead? If I don't like this, what do I want instead? So for you, if you want to go from where you are to where you'd like to be, well, where do you want to be? Be as clear as possible, right? Do you want to become a best-selling author? Do you want to have a hit show? Do you want to simply transform people's lives? Do you want to make a lot of money? Do you want to have a cool house? Like, do you want to live in a certain area of the world? Any or all of that is fair game. So the first thing as the leader of your life, right? We're all leaders of our own lives. So we need to get clarity about where it is we want to go. Because without that clarity, well, there's no road, right? There's like, if you think about entering a jungle and you don't have clarity about where you want to go, it's really hard to pave the path to get there. So the first tool we have to really develop is clarity of vision. And this is, I wouldn't say I'm the most detail-oriented visionary. I don't see with vivid detail years into the future. But for me, there are aspects of my life that I have a good feeling or vague conceptual feeling around. So I know I want to live in this type of climate with this type of vibe, or I want to have this type of business that allows me to live this type of life. When I say this type of life, I mean a life that I get to choose what I want to do. If I want to go hang out and grab a coffee for an hour in the middle of the day, I can do that, right? If I want to hang out with my kids, walk them to school, pick them up, go play soccer afterwards, I can do that. So the first thing for you is, if you're not already doing this, I'd strongly recommend journaling, writing out what you want your future to look like. And at first, you might not exactly know what that looks like, but that's the purpose of doing this, is that by writing this out, you start to get clear about the stuff that you actually want to bring into your life, that you actually want to create, that you actually want to experience. And very much like working out, the first time you write this stuff down, it might not flow. It might feel like you're forcing it. But just like working out a muscle, it gets easier and stronger and more clear the more you do it. So for many years, I spent every single morning journaling 5 to 10 minutes about, here's the vision, right? Here's the life I'm going to live. Here's how much money I want to make. Here's the type of people I want to work with. Here's roughly the type of business that I want to have. And if you're someone who has a power, a superpower, if you will, to be very clear with what you want to have in the future, that's even more powerful. Because here's the thing, the clearer you are, the faster you'll go. You see, I've been in this space now for 20 years, and I think that it's taken me a lot longer than maybe many others because I haven't had the detailed level of clarity that maybe you have, that maybe some other people have. And I'm just kind of like brute forced my way through the process. So I really encourage you to spend some time on a daily basis writing out exactly what you want, because if you have clarity around that, you will move in that direction a lot faster. So that's the first tool. The second tool that we have to have in our toolkit, especially when building your own business, is a relentless pursuit of excellence. You're a health expert, okay? That's amazing. Now, you've gone to school, you've put in the years probably already to work with a lot of clients to help them achieve a certain level of health. You've got a proven track record of helping other people. That's incredible, okay? But what you did yesterday, last year, 5 years ago is irrelevant today and moving forward. You cannot sit on your laurels. You cannot just expect people to fall into your lap because you've got some letters behind your name. It's not good enough. What you did up until today has simply given you the right to continue playing the game. If you're an expert at what you do, so I was an amazing trainer and nutritionist, strength and conditioning coach. I worked with, top athletes, thousands of everyday people. I was a strength and conditioning coach at one of the top universities in the world for 7 years. I loved what I did, and I was obsessed with being the best I could possibly be. Now, here's the other thing is I had that same mentality previous to all that. I played pro soccer in my early 20s, and it was this relentless pursuit of becoming the best I could possibly be to make that happen. So why does this matter? What does the pursuit of excellence mean to helping you as a health expert become an industry leader? Well, it's really simple. There's no shortage of health experts. There's no shortage of coaches. There's no shortage of insert profession. But how many of them are exceptional? If you look at tennis as an example, tennis is one of those sports where I think the contrast in the top 100 players, even in the top 10 players, is just crazy. So tennis is one of those sports where if you're ranked, and I have a friend who was a top 100 tennis player, and I remember he had played Nadal, Roger Federer, Andre Agassi, so some pretty big names back in the day. And I think at the peak of his career, he was ranked around 100. And he's like, I can barely afford to travel to tournaments. I didn't have a physical therapist that I had on staff. It was like he was piecemealing it together. Yet, if you look at the top 10 tennis players in the world, things are very different. Flying private, everything's taken care of, they're good. But even in the top 10, there is a dramatic difference in earning between number one, so Novak Djokovic, who has won the most money of all time in tennis, prize money, more than $136 million, I believe, just from tennis tournaments. That's not even sponsorships, okay? And you look at that compared to the top number 10 player in the world. It's not even in the same universe. So I share this with you because they're like the difference between being the best and third best is exponential. It's not even just a little bit better. Like, to the winner goes all the spoils, right? We've heard that saying. The reason I suggest this relentless pursuit of excellence is because not only do you have to be the best at what you do technically, but you have to become the best at who you are as a business owner. Because it doesn't matter how good you are if no one knows who you are. Especially in the online world, no one's just gonna fall upon your website. They're not just gonna walk by your clinic and stumble into your office. That never happens online. And the whole field of dreams, build a pretty website and they will come, it doesn't happen. You have to be very proactive with what you do to get noticed. Obscurity is the biggest danger you face. So the relentless pursuit of excellence, it's a mindset. And it's a mindset of understanding that you might have an amazing technical skill set, but if your business acumen, if your business skill set doesn't measure up, it doesn't matter how good you are because no one's going to know you even exist. So what does that mean exactly? So what does that mean? Well, it means like if you're an amazing naturopath, an amazing chiropractor, functional medicine doctor, whatever it might be, you have to take that same mindset that got you to become the best at what you do and bring it over to business. How do I become the best in business? How do I learn about messaging? How do I learn about how to position my offer? How do I learn about basic metrics and numbers in my business so that I can actually run my business like a CEO? Because if you don't learn this stuff and not just dabble in it, but have that mindset of becoming the best, then you'll do what most other business owners do, which is fail. 95% of small businesses do not last beyond 5 years. And it's because they think, at least in our space, they can just rest on the fact that they're an expert. They've got letters behind their name and that's good enough. It's not good enough. right? Every single day you have to wake up and earn your keep. You have to add value. You have to make the world a better place, and do not expect anyone to give you anything. No one owes you anything. But if you want a big future, you have to over-deliver on the free front, on the paid front, right? Where we're talking about like sharing value with your audience or transforming your clients' lives. You got to become the best. And if you look at the best businesses in the world, they're obsessed with excellence. The best athletes in the world don't care about the money. Like, how much more money does someone need when they're at the top of the game? They don't need more money, and they still want to be even better. It's not about more prize money. It's because that's who they are in their DNA. They want to become the best possible version of themselves. There's this inner drive that they can't turn off, that they just have to keep getting better. It's the same mindset that Kobe Bryant had when he said, you know what, if I train 2, 3, 4 times a day and do what most other NBA players are not willing to do for the next 5 years, no one will be able to keep up with me. No one will even be able to compensate for that time to even get near me. And that's the difference between champions and industry leaders and everyone else. So if you want to be the best in your niche, if you want to be the industry leader that people turn to, who are happy to pay premium dollars for, who you can happily turn away because you are too busy to even deal with the nonsense of people trying to price compare you or anything else. If you want people lined up to work with you because you are the best, this is what it takes. Third, and this is the big one, this is where my life transformed in 3 days, is you have to put yourself in environments that accelerate growth, that accelerate learning, and that accelerate relationships. So what does that look like? Well, essentially what it means is you have to put yourself in environments where you are surrounded by other people who have and are experiencing what it is you want to experience. To illustrate this point, I want to walk you through how my entire life transformed with one decision and 3 days. And I want you to look at the cascade of events that happened as a result of this. So when I started my first online health business in 2005, I was transitioning from working one-on-one forever, right? 7 years of doing that and grinding away. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I'm going to come online and live the laptop lifestyle. I'm going to, create some ebooks, put them out there. People are going to buy them and it's going to be amazing. Didn't happen like that, okay? So I went from end of 2005 all the way to the end of 2009, so about 3.5 years, living on poverty line income because I thought I could do this stuff by myself. I thought that I'm a smart guy, I can figure some stuff out online. Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen. I made poverty line income for the first 3.5 years of my business online. End of 2009, I said to myself, all right, dude, you're not as smart as you think you are. You have to do something different. And so the commitment I made to myself the following year was I'm going to go to some live events and I'm going to hire a coach. Now, keep in mind, at this time, I did not have money to do this stuff, but I knew it was what I needed to do. So started 2010, there was a couple of events that I wanted to go to for online marketing and one specifically for online marketing in the health space. So I threw the tickets on my credit card, which is what business owners do, right? Because I knew, you know what, like I would be foolish to not be there. Like how bad, like what's the worst case scenario? I pay a couple $100 in interest because I can't pay the ticket off. Who cares? I need to put myself in that situation to be surrounded by other people. Anyways, so I go to these events. At those 2 events, I literally meet everyone in the online health space at that point in time. Anyone who was anyone doing big things or on the journeys doing big things, I got to meet them, we hung out, we had lunch, we got to become friends, and just that alone changed everything for the course of the next 10 plus years. At one of the events, I also saw someone speak from stage, and while he was speaking from stage, I said, he's going to become my coach. I literally ran up to him like a stalker after he got off and I said, I don't know what you offer, but I would love to be coached by you. And he said, okay, cool, here's my card, I'll have my assistant reach out this week. And it was an $18,000 investment that I did not have at the time, but I made it anyways because I realized that I needed to be coached, mentored, and in an environment of other people who are already on the path to where I wanted to be. So that was my first big investment in myself and my business. At that event as well, on the Sunday morning, I was walking to the conference room and I passed by the restaurant. And at the restaurant, I noticed one of the guys sitting down. And I'm like, I've seen this guy before. And I sat down and I said, hey man, I'm Yuri. And he introduced himself. 7 hours later, we are still sitting in the restaurant having a conversation. What was interesting is it started off as the two of us, and then another person joined, and then we had this like friggin' mini conference in the restaurant. We called it the 7-hour lunch. And that 7-hour lunch turned into an amazing friendship that still exists to today. I've been in his wedding party. We have traveled together with our families. We actually created our own little mastermind on the back end of that with some other high-level entrepreneurs in Canada. And I share this with you because had I not been at that event, I would not have had the luxury of meeting this individual and forging that relationship and then creating what resulted from that. Now, that aside, we also did a lot of business together and helped a lot of people, generated a lot of money, and all of that from being in the right room, the right environment, putting myself in that space, right? To accelerate my exposure, to accelerate the connections and relationships. So those are the first two events, joined the coaching program. And then from that coaching program, I met somebody else. And I knew I kind of outgrew that coaching program toward the end of the year. And so then this other individual who I'd met on a boat, if I recall, was a really big influencer in the entrepreneurial space. You might know his name. His name is Joe Polish. He runs Genius Network. And I said, I would love to join your group. And so I did. And so that was my next thing, was from that initial mastermind, then I was introduced to, the next step, if you will, on my journey. And in that mastermind, it was amazing. Like I'm like some of the biggest thought leaders in the whole world are in that group at the time, and probably still are to this day. What was interesting is, aside from just being connected with so many amazing people, in that masterminds, I also noticed there was someone who I had seen in the online health space, but I'd never met personally. And so we connected in the hallway after one of the sessions, and I was like, hey man, you're doing a lot of stuff in the same space. We should do some stuff together. So they ended up promoting our stuff. We ended up promoting their stuff. They have a huge company you might know of called the Tapping Solution. Beautiful company, amazing people. And we became one of their top partners. Now, what was cool about that was that because of that, we were invited to a private mastermind that they were hosting a couple months later. So at that mastermind, there was about 10 people in the room. It was in New York City. And I remember walking into the room at the hotel that I was at, and I'm looking around the room and I'm like, I think I know like 2 people here and everyone else I didn't know. And then I saw someone who looked familiar, but I was like, is that who I think it is? So sitting across the room from me is Reed Tracy, the CEO of Hay House. So remember when we talked about clarifying vision? That's kind of the first step. Well, way back in the day, one of the things that I envisioned for myself was I said I would love to write a book and have it published by Hay House. So this is like 5 years prior I'd written this stuff. So here I was in this room, and I'm sitting across the table from the CEO of Hay House. And at one of the breaks, I went up to him and I introduced myself and I said, hey man, I love everything you guys are doing. Like Louis Hay, I've read so many amazing books over the years. And I said, I have a book that I would love to run by you. And I think it would be an amazing fit for Hay House. Because I had written an ebook many years ago, or prior to that, called Eating for Energy. And I ended up pitching him that book. We changed the name to the All Day Energy Diet. And so anyways, long story short, after meeting him in New York, 3 days later, we jumped on the call. The next day, he presented an offer for me to write the book for Hay House. Now, this was before I had a book agent, and I was just like, cool, let's just get it done. It wasn't a huge advance, but it was pretty sizable nonetheless, and we went to work to make it happen. So I converted that ebook into, the ultimate published book and made a lot of changes and so forth. And that book became a number 2 New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, USA Today bestseller. From that, I was able to piggyback that onto shows like Dr. Oz, The Doctor, some of the highest rated podcasts like The School of Greatness, Bulletproof Radio, you name it, I've pretty much been on those shows. So why am I sharing all this with you? I'm not done yet. There's still a couple more really cool things here, but I want to pause for a second and just backtrack. So this process now is about 4 years in the making, from my first coaching investment to this point, 2014, where I hit number 2 on the New York Times best-selling list. What I want to point out here was when I made these investments, the mindset shift was not what can I get out of this, but it was how can I show up and how can I take a long-term perspective on this? Because all I need is one relationship or one introduction or one idea that can change everything for me. And that's exactly what happened, is that instead of looking at, I'm paying you $18,000, I must make $18,000 plus, otherwise this is a scam. No. I have always approached live events, coaching, mentorship relationships as I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking to get out of this, but I know the magic is going to happen just because I'm in the room. And as I've started piecing this stuff together, I also want you to recognize that first investment, that $18,000 investment that I did not have, if you think about the ROI on that, just think about that. The ROI from that first investment of investing in myself and my business, what that trickled into over the years. I'm not even done yet, so let's keep going. So that number 2 New York Times bestselling book, all of a sudden, I started getting calls. At this point, I had a book agent, so we started getting calls left, right, and center of all these different publishers that wanted to offer me a deal for my next 2 books. So we had the luxury of choice. We ended up going with Rodale, which was, at the time, the publisher of Men's Health and Women's Health and a lot of amazing books. And I got a very high 6-figure advance for those 2 books. So, if you think about this just financially, I get an almost 7-figure advance from a couple of investments in various coaching and coaching programs and masterminds. Is like, you think the trade-off was worth it? You better believe it. Again, in Genius Network, I met an amazing individual whose name is Dan Sullivan. I've referred to him many times before. He is an amazing man, and he is the head coach at Strategic Coach. So I also joined Strategic Coach because at the time the business is growing. I needed more infrastructure and system help, and just kind of thinking a little bit differently. So I worked there in that program for 3 years. In that mastermind, I met people like Taki Moore, who's currently one of the coaches I work with, JJ Virgin, Phil Caravaggio, who's the co-founder of Precision Nutrition. We had an amazing group. So from those individuals, then I was invited to different events with them, and all the stuff that just kind of percolated from those things. So I'm sharing all this stuff with you because you got to put yourself in the room. And the mistake that I made for the first couple of years of my business is I thought the room was my office, by myself, on my computer, hiding behind the safety of the internet. And the fastest way to grow an online business is actually to spend more time offline, especially as you're looking to kind of really get things going. So I hope this makes sense for you, because one of the mindset shifts that I help our clients really think through is when they invest to work with us, they're really investing to work with themselves, to better themselves, to be honest. But the thing that I get them to think about is this conversation we're having right now. It's not about you invest this amount of money, therefore you must make this amount of return, or it's a failure, because you don't know what you don't know, and you can't see what's coming around the corner. For instance, if someone enrolls today, aside from all the strategy and the coaching and the growth their business is going to have, they might need someone who's already in the program who could absolutely open a door to something they haven't been able to solve. Or someone might join the program in 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 months. They might build a relationship or a connection. All of a sudden, magic happens. And I've seen this happen over and over again. And specifically at one of our big events that we host every year called Healthpreneur Live. So we have had people build 6- and 7-figure business deals just by meeting each other in person at our big event in Scottsdale. And it's hard to know when you invest to be in those types of rooms, it's hard to know what the ROI is going to be. But I don't even want you to think of ROI, if that's kind of the thought. It's not about the ROI. It's about, let me put myself in those environments and only good stuff can happen. If you're the type of person who gives value and extracts value, you'll always find a way to win, as opposed to a lot of victims in life who sit there and I got no value from this. I already know this stuff. It's well, you're a loser and you're going to continue to lose. Winners always find a way to win, and they always find a way to add value, to make the most out of a situation, and look for the silver linings. They have a miner's cap on that is looking at the gold, not the dirt. And so with that said, if this is of interest to you, and this is really striking a chord with you, our Healthpreneur Live event is actually coming up in just a few months based on when this video is being released. If you are a health professional who has years of experience, proven track record of helping clients, and either you're looking to move away from the brick and mortar to come online, or you already have an online business, coaching business that you're looking to scale, that's doing okay, but you're kind of stuck at a plateau and you need a better system, better strategy, better coaching, well, this could be an amazing opportunity for you to hang out with us for 3 days in the trenches with myself, our whole team, or most of our team, and hundreds of our clients. If you've ever wanted to speak with our clients, this is an opportunity to do so. Hey, what's it like working with Yuri? What's HBA like? What's Healthpreneur all about? This is a beautiful opportunity to do so. And the most important thing is, it doesn't even matter who's speaking. It doesn't even matter the topics that are being covered. I promise you, these 3 days will transform your mindset, your business, and how you see what's possible for you and your future. So earlier I said how I went from an unknown health expert to industry leader in 3 days. It was because when I decided to go to that first event, it was a 3-day event. And from that one decision, everything I just shared with you was the next step. It's like this beautiful weaving roadmap that all started with that singular initial decision to say, what I'm doing right now is simply not cutting it. I need to do something different. What am I not doing? Cool. Maybe I should put myself in an environment with other people in my space who are leaders in their field, who I can learn something from, who I can build relationships with. And then from there, we'll see where it goes. And if you're the type of person, once again, who adds value to others, who understands how to extract value from different teachings, then I think there's no way you can lose. So Healthpreneur Live is taking place in Scottsdale, Arizona this year, September 20th to 22nd. Now, it's typically reserved for our clients. However, we have opened up about 24, 20 to 30 slots for people who are not current clients. So if you're a health professional and you meet the criteria I just mentioned before, and you'd like to hang out with us for 3 days, you want to put yourself in an environment to become more visible, to build relationships, to learn and grow, then this is an amazing opportunity. You will never attend, I promise you this. We've been doing Healthpreneur Live since 2017, and there is no other event in our space that comes close to, I can't even describe it. Click the link below. Go over to the page, check it out. Now, you can't just buy a ticket. You got to just apply to attend. And obviously we'll take the next step with you. It might be a short call or an application. I'm not even sure. But the reason for that is because we have over 200 people in attendance. We have to make sure the right people are there. We have to make sure you're at the right stage of business. You're at the right stage with your mindset of where you want to go. And obviously, if this is something that is of interest to you, click the link below. You can learn more about Healthpreneur Live on the page. And if that's something you see the value in being at in person, to learn from me, to have lunch and break bread with me and our team and hundreds of other industry-leading health professionals, therapists, coaches who are transforming lives at a level that will blow your mind. This is the event to be at. You will leave this event with a level of thinking and vision that is probably going to dwarf where you're at right now. Your mind will be expanded for what's possible for you in your future. And if you see the value in that, then this is a great opportunity. But again, we only have about 24 to 30 slots available for non-clients. So if that's of interest to you, click the link below, head on over to the page. You can see videos and images from previous events. You can just get a sense of the amazing experience that we create for our clients and for the attendees. And if you'd like to join us at this year's upcoming event, I would not hesitate. A lot of people are going to see this. This is obviously going out to our whole email list as well. And, it's first come, first served. So again, I don't usually pitch anything in my videos, but I wanted to be very clear about that in this video, since we're talking about this topic of putting yourself in environments to help you win. There's no better environment to be in other than Healthpreneur Live. If you're a health professional who's serious about growing your online coaching business, there is no event that is like what you'll experience with us in Scottsdale. So click the link below, check it out. If you want to attend, just take the directions on the page and we'll go from there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hopefully this inspired you and to show you what's truly possible when you have a clarity of vision, when you have this relentless pursuit of excellence, and when you put yourself in the right environments to help you be connected with the right people, connected with the right learning, and the right exposure and visibility to help you achieve what you would never be able to achieve on your own. Thanks for hanging out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.